Credo, I don't know what to say right now. This is a far cry from, well, like my basement when we started doing this a long time ago. This is the production value just went skyrocket. I mean, I don't even know what to say right now.
This is it, man. This is why we do it, guys. For all of you out there, we're moving on up. The OG of AWP, Jonathan. This is your first time at the studio, I believe.
Long time listener and first time in the studio. Yeah, yes. Absolutely.
Well, just to bring it up, you work in parts unknown right now, so it's a very far travel to get here all the time for the studio.
Yep.
We've had you interview some talents outside of the show we played, but now we have you in the studio. We have Angry Cooter on special assignment this week, but it's an important time to be a wrestling fan, and it's an important time to be a wrestling fan in this area, in the Hudson Valley, Poughkeepsie specifically. Jonathan, out of everything going on the holiday season, the biggest thing that's happening right now is awesome championship wrestling. Tell us, you've been away for a little bit, but are you excited for wrestling to be right up the street from us again?
Finally, wrestling is back, and it is right here in our backyard. I'm fairly local, but Poughkeepsie has always held a special place in my heart. Obviously, there's so much rich history going on in Poughkeepsie and Poughkeepsie wrestling. And ACW, I am so excited for this show because it's just something different. It's something that we haven't got to see for a while. And the card is stacked, the talent is hungry, and I'm just pumped for it.
No, for sure. Over the next few clips or episodes you guys are going to see from us, we're going to be talking exclusively ACW, Awesome Championship Wrestling, and we're going to break down each match. We're going to talk about it from a fan perspective, just being fans for many years. We're in our 40s now. We're seasoned vets, I guess, of the wrestling fan business. But, so we're going to talk about every match. We're going to break it down for you, especially if you've never been to the MJN Center. If you had never been to the show, this is the inaugural show. So this is the first show for ACW, which makes it even more special and a must not miss. So let's talk about the matches. I think the biggest one coming up right now is for the NWA Junior Heavyweight Championship match. We have Alex Taylor, the current NWA Junior Heavyweight Champion, versus GKM versus Real One, formerly known as Enzo Amore. This started off really special, I think, for this because they first announced it was going to be GKM versus Alex Taylor. Real One called up to WRRV, was talking to the hosts on there, Ryan Roberts and Matthew James show, and he kind of, shouted out because he was the last time I think a Real One was in Poughkeepsie he was a cruiserweight champion. So now I think he inserted himself into this match pretty much. The commissioners, the powers that be at ACW approved it and made this a three-way dance. So this is special. It's not only are we getting an NWA championship match in Poughkeepsie, but it's, I think, the first time this championship has been defended by the NWA in our territory.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you look at these guys, you look at GKM, you look at Alex Taylor, you look at Real One, these three guys are hungry. They are they're still out to prove something. We know Real One, he's, battle tested. He's a master of the microphone. Alex Taylor and GKM are no slouches. And this match in particular for me is one of those that I think it may be a sleeper match. People are going to look at this and there's so many names on this card. There's so much talent. But this one is the one I have my eye on for sure. And like you said, it's very special that this championship is being defended in Poughkeepsie. And this championship actually has such historic roots. I mean, we're talking the 40s.
Dating back to 1945. So It's been around a lot longer, around our parents' age or whatever. So it's been around for a while. Jonathan, so if people unfamiliar with this championship too, I think if you had to relate it to anything, would you say that the NWA Junior Heavyweight Championship is kind of like a cruiserweight title or a light heavyweight champion in the NWA?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that again, that has been historically for the people that can move really quickly or, the idea of a cruiserweight, someone that's not a heavyweight, So I think that that's where it becomes special. But these three people that we're talking about, yes, they can move quickly, but they can also do some damage. And that is really why I'm thinking you got Alex Taylor in there. He's the champion for a reason, but you also have two very hungry people that are coming after that championship. And no one will not want to be the first match that is happening at the MJN Center. someone wants to win that first one to get their name in the history book, and that's what's going to happen on that night in Poughkeepsie. And I just can't wait for it.
No, for sure. And usually as wrestling fans, when we see a card being presented to us, we're kind of like, that's the obvious winner. Oh, it's going to be another whoever win. Looking at this match alone, I have it's anybody could win this match. They're all great talents. One guy, do I have to say, GKM. I'm not too familiar with GKM. I did some Google research, did some history of trying to see this guy. He's kind of he's a fairly rising star, I would say, the past few years. So he's still freshly new in the business. But I think he's probably one of the most exciting newcomers on the indie scene. I think he's the current ISPW heavyweight champion right now down in Jersey. But he's really athletic and he's very unpredictable. He is the Phoenix GKM. So he's somebody to keep your eye on, especially if you guys have never seen him in the Hudson Valley or the Poughkeepsie area. Wait until you see GKM. You're going to be a fan of him the first time you see him.
And I'm going to say this too. There's something that is unknown in this match and all these other matches. And that unknown is going to be the Poughkeepsie crowd. Very loyal, passionate fans. An ECW crowd, I'll say. There's been so much wrestling history. We're all spoiled with what all has been happening in Poughkeepsie. But, that crowd can change the outcome of a match. You have these three people, I don't know who they're going to go for. And that's going to play a factor in this match and all the other matches. And, I have to say, I've seen Real One eviscerate opponents on the mic before they even got in, and that's going to play a role in this too. Like, if he's able to get into their heads, I don't know what's going to happen.
A Real One is the guy who not only can walk the walk, but he can talk the talk. How you doing? Right? I'm not good at it, but how you doing? Right? I think that's one of the things I first loved about him was how awesome he is on the mic. He's like the Eminem of wrestling promos. Like, I don't want to go against him in a promo. He can pull anything out of anywhere and just kill you on the mic. So if you're going to go for a little promo with a Real One, that's think about that. I probably wouldn't do it. So, but I loved what he was doing a lot later in his WWE career, being that cruiserweight champion, because I feel at that time WWE didn't really have a lot of great, credible cruiserweights who could do kind of like the talk of the talk, right? A lot of them were doing the walk, but they couldn't talk the talk. Putting Enzo in that division, he dominated it. Just being able to do both worlds. He could wrestle, he could talk, he could walk. He did it all. And just having on the mic, I think, is the kind of person you want in your company, on your TV, on your shows, promoting your stuff. This guy knows what to say, how to say it, and then he even knows what to do in the ring, which makes him, one of the top talents, and especially for this championship.
Yeah, and like I said, it's crazy. These three are young, young talent. But to have Real One as a veteran, that's also going to play a part in this match. I don't know what's going to happen at the end of this show. I'm hoping for a lot more ACW, but I'm just saying, this has implications beyond just this show. And if Real One wins, or if Alex Taylor retains, or if GKM gets in and sneaks out a win, that's going to carry with them throughout their career. They're going to be able to say that they won on that night in Poughkeepsie.
Sure. And the fans, too, who aren't too familiar with Alex Taylor, the defending champion right now, he's part of the Southern Six, a stable down in NWA. What I think is really cool about this, because NWA doesn't really come up here. So not only, I think, is it a first time ever that the NWA Junior Heavyweight Championship is being defended, it's in our area, it's being defended at the MJN Center for the first time. Google it. Look it up. I'm pretty sure it's never happened. I mean, for the 40-plus years I've been around going to the wrestling shows, I've never seen the NWA come up here, have a match in Poughkeepsie, let alone defend a championship. So that's history in the making right there.
Yeah, and with Ice Cube and Eazy-E and all the other people from the NWA.
No, not that NWA.
No, not that. Oh, okay. All right. Well, it's still exciting. And there's a lot of talk in professional wrestling these days about forbidden doors and open doors and the doors or whatever. But honestly, this is its own forbidden door. You have NWA, you have TNA, you have a lot of really big independent people that have never really meshed before. And that whole locker room atmosphere is something that we're going to have to look at, because these people aren't going to play well with each other. This is something that, like I said, I keep talking about the implications, but I really think that this mix of talent and this roster is so deep and so hungry that like it's really going to be like our privilege to see what happens at this show.
No, for sure. And anybody who hasn't who've been up in the area, Poughkeepsie, whether you're traveling from a few states away or maybe across the country, the MJN Center, I like to say, is in Poughkeepsie the capital of pro wrestling, only because of its history of the building. And just that area, it's the perfect size building, the perfect size shows from WWE in the past to current what's happening. It's been the perfect place for a lot of wrestling history. There's a lot of things that have happened there. You don't want to miss it. Anything from the Macho Man debuting at the MJN Center. We had the Bret Hart and the Anvil started as the Hart Foundation at the MJN Center. A lot of other things have happened there, guys. You can Google it. You can see the history, the lineage of this place. So it's a special place in our hearts as wrestling fans, and it's a special place to just see a wrestling show. We're not going to a high school gym or whatever. We're going to like the main attraction in our area for a show.
And if you get a chance to see Steve at this show or any other shows, you can ask him about his favorite moment that happened there in the Honky Tonk Man. And I don't even know if we can talk about it anymore. We might get canceled, but you're right about this building. There's something special, and I talked about it earlier how the crowd is going to be very important in this match, but the building itself it's something special when those lights turn on in the MJN Center. And, like I said, I just can't wait to see who walks away with this championship on this night.
I have to address the elephant in the room now because you brought it up. We're on episode 274. If you guys go back to episode like 1, 2, or 3, or 4, I think I brought it up then. Listen, you have those flashback moments as a kid and you'll have like, oh, I remember this. I remember going to this and I just remember this. Listen, I used to go to a lot of WWE shows back then in Poughkeepsie, and I have this moment in my head, and I know it was the Honky Tonk Man versus somebody else in a blue steel cage match. As he was ascending the cage, somebody pulled on his trunks. Maybe it was Jimmy Snuka. I don't know. We'll be able to find what exact match it was. And then we saw some Honky Tonk Man butt cheek. That's all I remember though as a kid. Like I remember somebody grabbing his pants, and I saw some guy's ass. The end. And that's what you get. The important thing, though, Jonathan, is we're making memories and we're making moments at the MJN Center so that one day you can have this flashback of a moment like in pro wrestling here. But at the end of the day, this is the place to be on January 4th. This is ACW.com. Get your tickets. There's limited meet and greets for Matt Riddle, for Nic Nemeth, for Real One, formerly known as Enzo Amore, and Thom Latimer, the NWA champion. I mean, this is the first time you can get your picture with the NWA championship in the Poughkeepsie. So, I mean, why wouldn't you want to do this? Like, we're going to be there. We hope you guys go there, and we'll see you there, guys. Stay tuned. We'll be talking about more matches. Jonathan, though, welcome back. Welcome to the studio.
Yeah, this is great. Thanks for having me.
All right, what's going to be a clash of the eras as the alternative Anthony Greene steps into the ring with Crowbar, a seasoned force in the wrestling world. Both competitors have shown they can hang with the best in the business, and now they're out to prove who's better in this must-see showdown. Jonathan, man, welcome back. We're getting ready for ACW, the Poughkeepsie Rumble, January 4th at the MJN Center in Poughkeepsie, New York. Another match we're going to be talking about this. What do you think about this, man? This is I think I said the clash of the eras, right?
Yeah, and first of all, I just want to say, if you haven't got your tickets already, what are you waiting for?
I know.
And also, if you're hearing this, there may not be many left, honestly.
Yeah, get it now.
It's the holiday season. Go out there and get your tickets. But you're absolutely right. The clash of the eras. I always, as a longtime fan of professional wrestling, I'm a big fan of stakes in matches. So like whether it's a belt, whether it's some sort of ending of a feud, but this in itself is a clash of eras. You've got someone in Anthony Greene who is, no slouch in his own right. He's wrestled all over. He was in Japan. He was in WWE, briefly and all of that. We've seen him all over the East Coast as far as, professional wrestling on the independent scene. He has something to prove. He is definitely out there to kind of say, hey, listen, I've made my way around and I need to be a mainstay somewhere. It's time to get some gold. And I think he's going to try to do that by knocking off Crowbar. But it's not as easy as that, as we know. Crowbar, a long-term seasoned vet,
And former guest of the show.
The former guest of the show. I don't want Anthony Greene to hear this and think he can take the night off. Crowbar, while he is one of the nicest people that we've talked to on the show, he is a brute. He is a physical therapist, and I think that only helps him in his in the world of professional wrestling. He knows where to hit you where you can't get it worked on, the next day.
That's right. People would call him like a seasoned vet, if you will, but not to the fact that he's in a wheelchair going down the ramp, right? Like, this guy is in more shape than I am. He's probably in better shape than half of these other wrestlers out there today. And for somebody who doesn't really need to do it, still does it and is proving himself better and better each time. I mean, if you guys haven't seen Crowbar live, don't miss it, right? This is going to be something different because Crowbar can still go at it at 100% more than some of these other guys who have been around the block, right? In a good way, though. But I mean, we've talked to him on the show. He's been in WCW, been in WWE, the ECW, in TNA. He's been in how many promotions? Like, he's
pretty much been in.
He's a record of that.
I mean, if you look on his Wikipedia, he's one of the only people that has wrestled for WWE, TNA, ECW, AEW, ACW now. Like, he's, there's the belt collectors, the people that go around. Like, he's the promotion collector. Like, he's literally done it all in professional wrestling. And that means something. That means something to me. If you are, I don't know his exact age, but I'm assuming that, he's older than Anthony Greene. But what keeps him wrestling and what keeps promotions wanting to have Crowbar there? And I think it's the idea that he is really good at what he does. And I mean, tonight, on this night, January 4th, it's not going to be any different. And I think that, he's going to get a good welcome from this Poughkeepsie crowd. And I really can't say that I would be surprised to see Crowbar walk away with the W on this night.
No, sure. On the other hand, though, I'm thinking I'm seeing an Anthony Greene win this match. I've seen him for years. He's been on the Northeast wrestling scene. Started out, I think, on the show where we had Vic Dalishus and Hale Collins. The Now, they even talked about it. I think he even visited them when they had the House of Hardcore clinic and classes. So from wrestling for Northeast Wrestling for House of Hardcore, making his way down to, I think he was either in like 205 Live or in WWE, but even working that scene a little bit. And then working in pro wrestling in Noah in Japan. So, he's definitely made a name for himself. I think he had one of the best entrance songs, too, when I saw him over here in the Northeast in Connecticut years ago. Really fun entrance. I forget what it was. But he's got a lot of charisma. Yeah. He can talk on the mic, and he can also go in the ring. And I think, he's the best of both worlds, too. Yeah. Going up against a guy like Crowbar, who's kind of like been there and done it around everything, I think Anthony Greene really has a chance to prove himself to beat one of the best at being one of the best. So I think this kind of a matchup is one of those things where, two different eras are clashing, and I think it's going to bring out the best in both of these guys. I mean, this is going to be another great match. No bad matches so far. No. This is everybody wants to see it.
No, and I think, it goes back to, like, you have Crowbar who maybe thinking someday he does want to hang up his boots, but like, is it going to be on this night? Is he going to let Anthony Greene put that feather in his cap, or is he still have something to prove? And, Anthony Greene, again, does something, time off and new promotions and all that stuff has to do something to you. It's got to mess with you a little bit. And Anthony Greene may be starting to gnaw at him a little bit. Is he good enough? What's the next step? And, I mean, there's no better place to prove yourself than in ACW.
No, for sure. And, guys, once again, and girls too, if you're watching, this is ACW.com. I mean, we're talking about all the matchups that are going to be happening on January 4th at the MJN Center in Poughkeepsie, New York, guys. This is ACW.com. You can get the exclusive meet and greets there. You get your tickets there. If you don't want to get them there, you can go to the MJN Center box office, get them over there too. But, like you said earlier, don't sleep on this, right? As fans growing up, like, as soon as the tickets went on sale, we had to buy them right away. Yep. And these ones are going fast. It's a hot card, and it's Poughkeepsie, New York. It's a wrestling in Poughkeepsie. It hasn't been there for a little bit, and I think now is the time to bring it back. What better way to start off 2025 than pro wrestling in our own hometown?
Yeah, and the building, as a fan, I grew up in the Midwest. That's well documented on this podcast, but there wasn't a building in the Midwest that everybody would come to. This building has seen not only wrestling talent, but like everything comes to the MJN Center. And on this night, the inaugural ACW show is going to be there. And if you aren't there, you're going to be kicking yourself the next day, because I can only imagine we've went through a couple matches already, but like the heat that this show is bringing is just unparalleled. So
yeah.
You got to get out there.
It's going to be history in the making. And Jonathan, at our age, we're running out of things to do for the first time. There's not too many things you could do that are the first anymore. So having the first show in the beginning of the first of the year, even though it's on the 4th, but it's still the beginning of the year, what better way to start it off a new year than pro wrestling?
It's time to get in the ACW era. That's the thing, right? Taylor Swift and all that. It's the ACW era, and come on out and say hello to Steve and myself, and I'm sure Anthony Cooter will be there.
Angry Cooter will be there.
Oh, he's not as angry as he wants everyone to think.
I think he's angry that you're sitting in his seat today, but that's another thing.
We'll talk about that later, yeah.
Either way, guys, we're going to be there. This is ACW.com. We'll see you at the match. What would a show be without women's wrestling, Jonathan? We're going to talk about a ladies' match tonight, a women's match. Women, right?
Yeah.
Well, no, it's not ladies, women. It's women's match.
Yeah.
What better place? Awesome Championship Wrestling, January 4th. We're going to have at the MJN Center, we have Kelly Madan versus Tiara James. Jonathan, both of these ladies are rising stars in the wrestling industry right now. And being able to see them in Poughkeepsie at the MJN Center for ACW, for Awesome Championship Wrestling. What a platform for these two girls who have been working the way. Is it okay to say girls? I mean, they're women, but I'm just so used, because I have two girls. I have two kids. I'm so used to everybody. I'm getting old now, Jonathan. I don't know. Everybody's a kid to me now. I'm like, I forgot all these kids out there. But no, these women are really tearing it up right now in the indie scene. I'm excited for this women's match. What about you?
Yeah, so it's one of those things. These women are, as you said, they're all over the independent scene right now. And it's so awesome that we're going to get to see them at ACW, because I feel like at any moment you can turn on your television, and if you're watching one of the major promotions, that there's a chance that you're going to see a Kelly Madan or a Tiara James. Like, I really feel like that women's wrestling's come such a long way.
Oh,
like, we grew up during the Attitude Era, the Divas, all that stuff, and now they're finally getting their due. And these matches, I don't know if everyone feels like they've got to go out there and prove something, but I think that we're at a time with women's wrestling that, they're going out there and doing exactly what they can, and they're showing people that they have their own. You mentioned you have girls, like they're showing, young women, they're showing other people what they can do, and I'm super excited for this match. And it's one of those that, again, we talked about it. It could be a sleeper as far as what we're seeing on this card. There's so much that we have here, and everyone may be like, oh, I'm coming to specifically see Nic Nemeth. I'm coming to see Tommy Dreamer. I'm coming to see wrestling back in Poughkeepsie. But I think there's going to be quite a few people that are coming to see Kelly and Tiara. I really am looking forward for this match.
No, yeah, definitely don't sleep on these two, because mentioning my girls again, when I watch wrestling at home, my girls are out doing their own thing, right? And they could care less if Brock Lesnar's on my screen. But then when a women's match comes on, they stop what they're doing and they're focused on it. And like for me growing up, I was a boy. I didn't have girls, right? I just had a brother. And so growing up, we'd watch wrestling, right? So we would watch it, and I was enthralled with it. I loved watching it, right? The crazy stuff, from the Legion of Doom to whatever. And then now looking at my kids, who are girls, looking at wrestling to see everything else is going on in the world, doesn't matter. But when they see women's wrestling on TV, they're stopping. And it shows you, that's like the kind of influence these ladies are having on another whole other generation. So I think when Kelly Madan and Tiara James are going to step in the ring, it's not just a match for themselves. It's a match for all the women out there watching who didn't really get to see women's wrestling in the spotlight that it's being put in today.
Listen, I don't have kids, but I have a wife, and she loves wrestling now. It's been great. We can talk about it and stuff. And, for her, it's personal. She loves watching the women's wrestling, and she loves seeing what's going to happen, and she loves that it's being treated just like the men.
Yeah.
And, this match is going to be one of those that it's going to be a barn burner. It's going to be hard hitting. It's going to be something because they do want to show people exactly what you're saying. They want to show people that, we're here to stay. And, I've had a chance to see them, again, briefly, but I think that this is going to be one of those matches that people are going to be talking about the next day for sure.
No, definitely. As Kelly and Tiara, these two women have been on AEW, they've been on TNA, they've been in WWE. They've had different little spotlight showcases or matches, if you will, dark matches or whatnot. So they're still, like I said, they're rising stars. Keep your eyes on them, and especially watch all the young girls in that audience that night, because they're going to be watching these two women put on a match like nobody else. So I think I'm excited for it. I'm glad to see a women's match in Poughkeepsie, in front of our hometown, in front of our kids, my kids. So I'm really excited for this. At the end of the day, though, Jonathan, who's getting the W?
I mean, I'm gonna just say that I'm feeling like that. I think it's gonna be Kelly Madan, and I'll tell you why. I feel like that right now is Kelly Madan's time. I think that she's been around a little bit, and she's got something to prove. And tonight, on January 4th, that's going to be her chance to kind of show off what she has. And I'm not taking anything away from Tiara James. I think that she's got a bright future, but I'm just telling you right now, as we sit here, it's Kelly.
Well, Jonathan, on the other hand, I'd like to disagree with you, because I'm going to say it's going to be Tiara James, because not only is she flawless, she's unstoppable. I'm telling you.
I hear you.
I'm telling you. At the end of the day, I'm not going to argue. I love Kelly. I love Tiara. I can't wait to see them on January 4th in Poughkeepsie. Guys, why do we got to keep saying this? Don't wait on it. Get your tickets now. This is ACW. You'll see Jonathan at the show. Ask him to buy you a popcorn. You'll see me. I'll tell you to go ask Jonathan to buy you a popcorn. It'll be great. He'll be spending the money on you all night. Guys, we'll be there. Check it out. We'll see you January 4th. I hope you got your tickets. I hope Santa's going to leave tickets under someone's tree, because Kwanzaa or Hanukkah. I mean, it doesn't matter what you celebrate, but you should be celebrating wrestling come January 4th at the Mid-Hudson Civic Center, because it's not only going to be a night of history making, it's going to be a night of awesomeness. Awesome Championship Wrestling is coming back to the MJN Center in Poughkeepsie, guys. January 4th, be there. We've been talking about matches the past few times, past few weeks, past few days. It seems like a long time. But one of the biggest matches I think that's going to be happening here is going to be for the prestigious NWA World Heavyweight Championship. We're going to have Tommy Dreamer versus Thom Latimer, the current NWA World Heavyweight Champion. This epic clash is going to kick off 2025 in a big way, blending tradition and extreme as two icons of the wrestling world battle for the legendary NWA World Heavyweight Championship. Jonathan, have I said it as many times as I should, that it's, this is one of the titles growing up as a kid that, there was the NWA title, and then there was the WWE champion. This is one of the championships that have been around. Yes, it went away for a little bit, but it's been back ever since. NWA, Billy Corgan put him back on the map. This is it, man. This is your chance to see history in the making this night, where Tommy Dreamer is going to have a shot at the NWA championship with Thom Latimer.
Yeah, I mean, not since the days of Orville Brown, the inaugural NWA champion, have we seen something like this. Tommy Dreamer, as you are well aware, House of Hardcore, live, Poughkeepsie, New York. This is Tommy's hometown.
Yeah.
There's no getting around it. And I've been to a lot of wrestling shows. I've been to WrestleManias. I've been to just crazy Ring of Honor. I've been to TNA. I've been to Tommy Dreamer gets as loud of a pop in Poughkeepsie as anybody else on a great day.
Yeah.
That's going to play a factor in seeing Thom Latimer for the NWA Championship. You talked about the lineage, the history. This is a Ric Flair title.
Yeah.
This is a Dusty Rhodes title. This is crazy. And to see it actually before my eyes in Poughkeepsie, it's something that I did not have on my bingo card. Even though it's early in 2025, it's not something that I thought. And this match isn't going to be a high-flying spectacle. This match isn't going to be a Matt classic. This isn't going to be anything more than just a hard-hitting match.
Yeah.
And if that is your cup of tea, this card up and down has a little bit of everything. But this is where the men get separated from the boys. This match right here, and I'm going to tell you right now, it could go either way. It really could.
Yeah. And once again, for the NWA to come up here to Poughkeepsie, this is the second NWA championship match of the night. It's the prestige of this title, having a title match in Poughkeepsie. Once again, there hasn't been an NWA title. Fact check me. Find it. I looked. I couldn't find it. I asked people. We couldn't find it of the NWA title being defended in Poughkeepsie ever. So, going back to like the days of the territories where NWA had like a territory and WWE and whatever, Mid-South, whatever, everybody had territories. It's almost like if the NWA starts, coming up here with awesome championship wrestling, we could see like your Forbidden Door. I love seeing companies work together.
Yeah.
Like this, where we're going to see pretty much TNA, NWA, and ACW working together in one night. For the fans, man. I don't know if you're a fan. It's a win-win, right?
Yeah.
There's nobody losing here.
No, and that's the thing. It's been talked to death about like the tribalism and whatever. But I think the big thing is that this night has something for everyone, and ACW is bringing wrestling back to Poughkeepsie, and this actual event. I'm seeing the poster. I'm seeing the who's gonna be there, and it is a who's who. It's not, there's not somebody on there that you're like, I don't, I've never heard of that person before. No. These are all big names, but again, the fact that you've got NWA talent, the fact that you have TNA talent, like this is pretty unheard of, and I'm thinking again that Thom Latimer has to, as he's preparing for this match. It may be easy to look past Tommy. In Poughkeepsie, there's no looking past Tommy Dreamer. And,
especially with that energy from the crowd.
In that MJN Civic Center, there's really like it's like he's going to step out of his car and walk into his house. Yep. And I think that's going to be I don't know how Tom is going to be able to deal with that.
And that's got to mess with your mind too. I would say, the non-favorite in this match, Thom Latimer, walking into Poughkeepsie is not the favorite probably, because you walk into that place, that's got to do some mental stuff to you to where everybody's just booing you, right? Like nobody wants, like whether he's a face or a heel, I'm telling you, when you walk in Poughkeepsie going against the guys in this guy's house, you're the heel already, right?
Yeah.
The fans are going to be against you. So I think that's got to play with his mind a little bit going in there to where just nobody's with him. I mean, being one of the prestigious champions in all pro wrestling for the NWA, walking in here and being one of the hated guys of the night, maybe? I don't know. It's got to play something with your head.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it can't be understated. We're talking ACW, and we're also talking ECW. We're talking Tommy Dreamer. We know that, there is a rich history in Poughkeepsie of ECW, and that sort of style, that may not be something that Tom's used to. Tom's, NWA, that's not necessarily your hardcore base. Yeah. And, I think he's going to have, he better pack a lunch that day, because it's going to be pretty tough for him to walk out of Poughkeepsie the same way he walked into Poughkeepsie.
Well, you did talk about ECW and Extreme. This is going to be just a regular heavyweight championship match, too. So it's not an extreme match. So maybe there's a little bit of a disadvantage to Tommy in that, to where you can't use any canes or tables or whatnot. Okay, but you still got that brute force of him. So, I mean, it's anybody's match. Another match in here where I'm looking at it and I don't know who's going to win.
Yeah.
It's one of those things to where...
I hear what you're saying, but I have to say that even if the conditions don't necessarily favor Tommy, I do have to say Tommy's probably forgotten more about wrestling than Tom will ever know. And I think that that knowledge base and that history with the wrestling business is what's going to put Tommy, and you didn't ask, but I'm going to tell you anyway. I think it's Tommy over Tom on January 4th. That's my prediction.
Actually, I saw recently too, Rob Van Dam commented on when this post went up on ACW's Instagram about, Tommy to be careful in this match. Tom does look like a threat for Tommy during this match. Not to age anybody, Tommy Dreamer is a legend, but also we talked about first time matches on this card. Could this be a last time match? I mean, with Dreamer, could this be the last time he might be able to fight for this championship to win it and bring it home win it in his backyard pretty much to become the new NWA champion. I mean, I don't want to date anybody or say anything like that, but at the same time, could this be the last time we see Tommy Dreamer fighting for this? And if it's going to be the last time, you know what that means? It means it's history in the making, Jonathan, and why would you want to miss this?
Yeah, absolutely. Get your tickets right now. They're flying off the shelf, and I think that this match, again, we're talking about history. I want to talk real quick. I'm not looking past Thom Latimer. I'm just saying, that he's got an uphill battle with Tommy Dreamer. And obviously, if you think about the NWA and you think about its history, Thom Latimer defeated EC3, somebody that we all know well. And he's one of the big names in professional wrestling. And all it takes is 3 seconds. We all know that. So I think that if you haven't bought your tickets yet, if you're looking for a sign, this right here is your sign. Go out, buy your tickets, buy tickets for your friends, your family, and meet us on January 4th and sit beside us and watch this match and watch history in the making.
That's right. And hey, this is ACW.com. Get your tickets. Get your meet and greet tickets. You can meet Thom Latimer. You can get a picture with the NWA title for the last time, maybe before Tommy wins it. You don't know who's going to win, guys. I can't wait for it. And once again, Tommy could be walking out as the new NWA World Heavyweight Champion. And where did it happen? Right here in Poughkeepsie at the MJN Center. Don't miss it, guys. I mean, any marks out there? Come on. Get your tickets, man. This is it. Not only are we going to Poughkeepsie on January 4th for ACW, but guys, if you're interested in doing your own podcast out there and you don't have the means or you don't have the equipment to do it at home, check out beaconpodcasting.io. Sal at Beacon Podcasting has helped us kind of resurrect ourselves from the dead, if you will, going from audio coming to video. So this has been a dream for us to do what we're doing today. So guys, I can't encourage you enough. If you want your own podcast, just not maybe another wrestling podcast, but another kind of a podcast, come to Beacon Podcasting right off of 84, right next to the Beacon train station. It's a win-win.
It's beautiful in Beacon, and it's wonderful. Sal at Beacon Podcast, he's a pro. He's the best there is.
BeaconPodcasting.io. Are you ready to rumble?
Let's get ready to rumble.
Well, that's for trademark.
Sorry.
We get fined $1 billion every time we have him say that. But no, the Poughkeepsie Rumble, Jonathan, is happening. It's the name of the show. The Poughkeepsie Rumble, Awesome Championship Wrestling, January 4th. Get your tickets. This is ACW.com, Poughkeepsie, New York, MJN Center, guys. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be one hell of a night. We talked about a lot of matches so far, but one of the bigger matches of the night is going to be the 20-man over-the-top rope rumble, where the winner will be crowned the inaugural ACW heavyweight champion. What a prize. Are you excited about this rumble?
Yeah, I mean, I've been involved in a few Poughkeepsie Rumbles, mainly at the Wendy's or whatever, but this one seems to have a lot higher stakes to become the first ACW champion. Again, we talk about it's a night of firsts, and this one is probably the one that, I mean, who doesn't love a rumble, right?
Yeah.
There's 20 men that you said, and I don't know for sure, but I think that there's some that have been announced as of press time.
Say as we go, I think there's still guys just being announced there daily.
Okay, all right. So I mean, I can't give you my prediction of the winner, but I'm gonna say that I'm 90% sure that it's gonna be the big egg. Do you remember that? You were talking about the Gooker.
The gobbledygooker?
Yes.
You think he's going to be a mystery entrant?
He's my pick. Right now, you heard it here first. He is hands down my pick for the winner of the Poughkeepsie Rumble.
All right. Well, I don't get your hopes up, kids. This is all right. Well, there are going to be some mystery guys. I don't think the Gooker is going to. Is that safe to say? Is going to be. It's going to be a mystery guy on the show. But anyway, other names on this match, Richard Holiday, former MLW standout, returned to action after a well-documented battle with cancer. He's more reinvigorated now than he ever was, and I think he's ready to make an impact in Poughkeepsie. Incredible name, is somebody that could be signed any day now, but now ACW has him. Richard Holiday entering the Rumble.
I mean, and this guy I've watched, and he's got that look. And we've heard about it before. If you're a big wrestling fan, you hear about the airport test. You've heard about it. If this guy walks through an airport, if this gal walks through an airport, is someone going to turn their head. And for Richard Holiday, that is 100% fact. He's a throwback to a different time, just his look, but he's skilled, he's hungry. I've said it a lot during this thing, but I think he is definitely one to stand out in this. And, it's as big of a deal as it is to become the first ACW champion, it's also just a big deal to have a great showing in this match because the world's watching, the lights are on bright, and if the Gooker isn't in, then Holiday may be my second pick for the win of the...
All right. Well, we still got some names. Maybe it might change your mind, but, hopefully he'll get his damn flowers. So Richard Holiday on the show. Let's talk about some of the big guys in this because there are some huge powerhouses in this match. One of them being Wrecking Ball Legursky, who we sat here with the now. Hale Collins has no idea who's going to toss out Wrecking Ball, but these guys are huge, man. I mean, easy to throw a punch or so at him, but you got to take this guy and flip him over the top rope, and that ain't an easy task. He probably has a high percentage at being one of the top guys to last this whole match, if not win it.
Yeah, and I mean, I used to love watching those rumbles and stuff, and watching all the people tag team to throw someone out.
Yeah, team up with people. Yeah.
And you seriously, you heard it here first. I'm picking Wrecking Ball Legursky as the winner of the Poughkeepsie Rumble.
Are you going to say that about everybody we talked to?
Listen, this is my guy. Who is going to get him out? There's that amount of humanity. There's no way that you're going to get him. Anybody is going to get him over the top, and he's the clear winner.
Well, we did say that we usually see some kind of powwow in the ring in these rumbles where the smaller guys maybe team up to get the bigger guys out. But what if we had a place where all the big guys team up to get all the little guys out? Because we also have Kerr in here who can go one-on-one with the Wrecking Ball, which we've seen countless times. We also have Vargas, the Dominican Destroyer, man. This dude... all three of these guys alone, I'm scared for everybody else that are going to be in this match because these guys are kind of just powerhouses in the ring. I don't know what's going to happen with that, but a lot of big names. Another name making a name for himself, Landon Hale, who's actually also just over in Germany wrestling not too long ago. A newcomer on the scene too, but he's looking to prove himself to be one of the best, and this is where he's going to prove it in Poughkeepsie. Have you seen much of Landon or not?
So he's, as you said, a relative newcomer. I'm looking forward to it. I want to walk out of here. I want to be able to say, hey, everybody who you're coming to see this person. You're coming to see a Nic Nemeth. You're coming to see a Matt Riddle. You're coming to see the Now. You're coming to see all of these great people. But, I want to walk away and be like, hey, everybody who didn't go to this, I don't know why you didn't. You're crazy. But, this person that you may not have heard of, they made their debut and they made an impact on this night, and Landon Hale may be one of those people. There's a lot of people in this Rumble. Somebody that I'm really hoping people don't count out is Keith Youngblood. Yeah, he's definitely somebody that we've known for a while. He's been on the show. He's been all around the Northeast, and there's something to be said again about these people who have done this for a while. They know that they may not be the biggest, but it just takes a little help to get over that rope, but I'm looking forward to seeing him. And again, a lot of great people in this, but again, Keith Youngblood is my pick. It's
gonna be your pick
for
too,
right?
For Keith Youngblood, man, former Northeast Wrestling Tag Team Champion, also a Tag Team Champion with Jerry the King Lawler, WWE legend. So he was Tag Team Champions with him. Don't count him out, man. He was Northeast Wrestling Live Champion. He's had gold around his waist. He's been there, done that. But now, in order for him to even make a bigger name for himself, he's entering this Rumble. Another pick for you. A lot of the guys in here, there's still some surprises in here. So I have to think about some surprises as we go. But one surprise to me, which I saw announced, was another ECW legend, Tony DeVito, formerly the Baldies.
The Baldies.
He's coming back. He's I believe he's a Newburgh or Middletown native. Newburgh, he's around here somewhere. So he's another local guy who lives in the area, like a Tommy Dreamer, right in his backyard, working at the Civic Center, who's also of ECW fame.
Yeah, I mean, I think that ECW is again the thing that you have to think about the most. That's going to be on people's mind, that nostalgia. But I think we're going to see something happen on that night, and you're going to hear some ECW chants, but I also think you're going to hear ACW chants, and that is because this new promotion is giving us this Rumble, these title matches. Again, I've mentioned it before. Poughkeepsie Wrestling royalty. You talked about the building, the MJN Center. All of this is happening on January 4th in Poughkeepsie, New York, and I think that this match has the ability, without even knowing the full lineup. This is something that I would say that you're buying your tickets for. You're gonna come to this and you want to see this match. And what happens whenever you have a champion? This person, this ACW champion, is going to be the flag bearer of this company. And who's it going to be? Like, that for me is the most exciting part of this show, is just seeing what happens.
Yeah, and not only are we going to get an ACW champion, we also have the TNA World Heavyweight Champion, the NWA World Heavyweight Champion, the NWA Junior World Heavyweight Champion. A lot of championships in here, and then to be crowned the ACW, the Awesome Championship Wrestling Champion of the World, right? So
that's something that maybe Joey Chestnut, the hot dog eating champion, maybe he's one of the surprise entrants.
So we're going from the gobbledygooker, who only comes out at Thanksgiving, I think, in the 80s, but now we could have a Joey Chestnut entering at number 30, maybe?
You don't know what's going to happen.
Eating hot dogs on the way down.
Hey,
that'd be great. If he came from the concession stand in the back and just had a few hot dogs and got into the Rumble, I'll go with you. That could be another pick. There is going to be some surprises. They did say it. The now said there are some surprises, so that's what I love about wrestling. You get surprised, especially as a longtime fan. So some other names that we got to mention. We have a Poughkeepsie native, Mike Gallagher, who's going to be having the first match in the Civic Center in his entire career. So that's a nice little standout for him. Leo Sparrow, a lot of the guys of our vegan friends might like. He's all sizzle, no steak. He's the Fresh Prince of Midair. He's a very earth-friendly, if you would say. I think a lot of people have been finding fans with him. But one guy whose promo I saw on ACW last week, who's kind of making a name for himself right now, I think he even trained under EC3 and a few other guys, but Dante Casanova, man, I love what he's doing. He's got the Aztec warrior thing going. I'm big on ancient history and all that stuff, to where I love watching all this stuff. I think he looks perfect for this role. I think he's another guy that can walk the walk and talk the talk. Rising star, man. Don't miss him. I think seeing him in Poughkeepsie on January 4th is going to be history in the making, because this kind of thing is going to go places. Yeah,
and this is one of those things, too, nowadays with wrestling being on the edge again of this big boom, we're in this great big boom period. You see these people one day, and then you see them again, and you can say, hey, I was at ACW when I saw a Dante Casanova. I was there when I saw Thom Latimer. I was there when I saw Nic Nemeth. This is one of those things that, I hope that they stay around to Poughkeepsie. Selfishly, I want to see people in good wrestling, but also, you never know what's going to happen. These people are all future champions in this business, and I'm excited for this Rumble.
Yeah, just a few mention of other names. Fox Vineyard, I've seen him for countless times in this area. Crazy guy, wacky guy. He's like a cartoon come to life. Wouldn't want to miss, especially for kids, right? This is a fun, family-friendly show, too. We talk a lot about ECW, but I think you had to be alive at that time for ECW to live in that heyday.
Yep.
Things are never going to amount to the way ECW was back then that it is today. So when people mention that, they get afraid, I don't want to go because it's probably not kid friendly. It's going to be everything's, it's kid friendly. This is pro wrestling. I mean, I remember going as a kid, made me a fan ever since. And look at what I'm doing now, another wrestling podcast. But some of these names, I think the biggest thing to talk about with this, I think there's over 15 people that may have been announced. I could have lost count, but who might show up? You mentioned the gobbledygooker. There could be some past stars, some maybe local favorites, even any other major surprises. I think when there's a Rumble, that's all people want to see is who's the surprise, who's going to surprise us, who's coming out on top of this, because not only are they fighting for the inaugural championship, the ACW Heavyweight Championship, we're going to see surprise in this. So it's an action-packed match, right?
It could be a full circle moment for you, and it could be Honky Tonk Man. And if it is,
keep the pants up, Honky.
Keep them up, bud. Keep them up.
No, man. There's been countless things that have happened at the MJN Center for history, and to have this kind of a match on the show, it's not just a regular Rumble to be number one contender or fight for another date. They get the championship at the end of this match.
They walk away with it.
Not only you're getting surprises, not only getting some of the best names in wrestling right now, in a match, in a Rumble, but we're getting a champion at the end of this match. So it's very exciting. I think it's going to be one of the most exciting matches of the night.
Yeah, it's like 2 matches in one because you have the match, but then someone walks away with that title. And, I've said it before, it only takes 3 seconds to win a match. But in this atmosphere, this Rumble-style atmosphere, friends become enemies, enemies can become friends. Like it's a wild card in itself. And to see like all this great talent just all piled into one ring, like it's really anybody's game, but someone's walking away the first ACW champion.
No, for sure. And I know like we kind of ran through some of these names as much as we could. I know there's other names being announced and some that won't be announced. I think at the end of the day, we're only a few weeks away, a few days away, a few hours away. This is ACW.com. Get your tickets. We'll be there. We'll see you. Don't wait till the last minute. Get them now because you don't want to be disappointed when you go to buy them and guess what? They're sold out. Get them now. It's a perfect Christmas gift, holiday gift, Hanukkah gift, Kwanzaa gift.
Actually, your birthday's in December and my birthday's in December. We'll just buy each other a gift.
Yeah,
no, that's
I'll get
perfect.
your ticket. You get my ticket.
That sounds great.
Get me ringside. I'll get you a nice. Actually, anywhere you sit in the MJN Center, I was going to make a silly joke about. I'll get you the far seat. There's anywhere you sit in the MJN Center is a perfect seat. So I'm thinking, okay, my joke just didn't work because I was going to say, haha, you get there is no horrible seats.
No, and there's a good chance that we have sat in literally every seat in that building. So yeah, I love it. And again, that building is just rooted in history and it's practically a wrestling entity in itself. So come on out, join us. We're going to be there and it's going to be an awesome night.
One of my favorite things about pro wrestling has always been tag teams. I always grew up watching tag teams, love tag teams. One of the favorites, Heart Foundation, the Rockers, grew up with Demolition. I just love tag teams, and I especially love tag team wrestling. Now, Jonathan, this week it was announced that the now Poughkeepsie's own Hale Collins and Vic Dalishus versus Sent to Slaughter, Danny Maff and Shawn Donovan is not only going to be a tag team match for this show, it's going to be a tag team tables match where both opponents have to go through the table or a table in order to win. So you got to get both of these guys on your team to go through a table to win this match. At the top, this is ACW.com, Awesome Championship Wrestling, January 4th, MJN Center. If you've been waiting to get tickets and you've been watching the past few of these shows of us talking about all the matches, and you're still on the fence about getting tickets, Jonathan, I mean, not only is it tag team wrestling, but it's a tables match. And could be one of the most brutal tables matches we've ever seen in Poughkeepsie ever. I
mean, if you haven't already gotten tickets, I feel like I will put you through a table. This is not to be missed. Yeah. And the thing that I'm saying, like as you were talking about this match, you're talking about the Now and Sent to Slaughter. This match is the one that could have real career-ending implications. The Now, one of the most decorated tag teams in the area. Sent to Slaughter, one of the biggest roadblocks to the Now. And I really, I know some of these people involved in this match, and it is something that I'm worried about. This isn't going to be a match where someone gets pinned and they get up at the end and they walk away from this that easy. This match is going to be brutal. Yep. And, you add that's without adding that stipulation. Yeah. Now you've got tables involved. This is even, that takes it to another level. And I know that's why they chose this. Yeah. This match is going to be a nightmare, and I'm excited as a wrestling fan, but I'm also a little concerned for both these teams involved in this match.
No, for sure. Let's talk about the Now real quick because there would be no ACW without the Now. They're bringing Awesome Championship Wrestling to Poughkeepsie. That's awesome. We can't thank them enough for this because this is what the area has needed the longest. These two guys have been one of the most cohesive teams in the Northeast over decades now. They were tag team champions in multiple. We talked about on the show that they were here last time, all over the South, all over the Midwest. Even in our area, they were Northeast Wrestling tag team champions. They've been around the block, right? They've wrestled with some of the best out there. But as much as they've wrestled the best, they got to be even better to this night, because I'm kind of scared, Jonathan, because these guys, I mean, are no slouches, right? It ain't just going up against some job squad, wannabe tag teams. These guys are the tag team sent to slaughter. They've been having a war with them too over the past few years at ISPW, where they've beat them for the tag team championships back and forth, to where it's like they're equally matched in a way, but sometimes it almost seems like they're outmatched a little bit with the now. Danny Maff, let's talk about him, and Shawn Donovan too for Sent to Slaughter, because Danny Maff he's a huge presence. He's had a storied career, including appearances in Ring of Honor, New Japan, in our Northeast Wrestling. He's been all over. He's been a champion, and he's been a dominant champion. I think he's one of the longest reigning Northeast Wrestling champions over here. So nobody to sleep on, right? He's a beast. And if he was in the Rumble too, I would be Danny Maff all along, right? But Shawn Donovan too is a guy who trains every day, works every day in the business, outside of the business, in wrestling. Nobody to sleep on. These guys are brutal, and I think I'm kind of worried, man. I keep saying this. I'm a little bit worried for the Now this night, because it may be their hometown. It may be their fans that are going to be filling up this arena, cheering them on. But deep down inside, I'm going to have that, I hope they win, man, because I'm saying, these guys, it's not an easy team, which I'm trying to get to.
Yeah, and
it's not going to be easy.
I think you made the right choice by not saying anything bad about Danny Maff.
I'll give him your address if I do.
And Shawn Donovan. I mean, they're legit. I mean, as the kids say, they're legit. And I want to say that, if you're on the fence about getting tickets, or if you haven't purchased your tickets yet, I think that the Now is going to need every single person who comes there that night to cheer them on to get over this hump. And you mentioned it. The Now have been around for 15 years.
Yeah,
I mean, I remember when I first got up here in the Northeast, that I was watching them early on, and they have taken down team after team after team, so much so that sometimes as the dust settles, it's just the Now.
Yeah.
And I hope for their sake that is what happens on January 4th. But we're gonna see. I mean, again, this match may actually take down the entire town of Poughkeepsie. It may be like Godzilla versus Mothra. I don't know what we're going to see, but I do know that it's going to be just a grueling bout. And, again, if you're a fan of that hard-hitting style, if you're a fan of, brawlers and tables and furniture and all that stuff, this match right here is, and I keep saying it, this card has a little bit of everything for you.
Yeah.
And, this, again, is going to have implications on who walks away and who lives to fight another day. And I don't know. I can't call it right now.
No, yeah. Once again, guys, on January 4th in Poughkeepsie at the MJN Center, we're going to have not only women's wrestling, we're not going to only have championship matches, a Rumble. We're also having a tag team match, and it's not just a tag team match; it's a tables tag team match. Both opponents or both teams have to go through the table in order to win. So it's a little bit of a stipulation on top of another tables match. It ain't just one of the guys have to go through. Both of your team have to go through a table in order to win. So get your tickets, man. You don't want to miss this. I can't keep saying it enough because I'm not missing it. You better not miss it.
Steve, we are now at the main event, really.
This is it.
The main attraction. ACW really pulled out all the stops for this event. January 4th, if you've not gotten tickets yet, please go out, get your tickets. That way, for your own sake, you can say you were there the night you saw for the first time ever.
First time ever, man.
First time
crazy,
ever.
Right? Another first time.
Yeah.
You don't get many first times anymore.
Listen, Awesome Championship Wrestling presents Poughkeepsie Rumble featuring TNA, let me just say that again, TNA champion Nic Nemeth.
World Heavyweight Champion.
Yes, absolutely. Defending his title for the first time against Matt Riddle in a must-see main event. There is nothing more main event than what I just said. Nic Nemeth, formerly known as Dolph Ziggler, versus Matt Riddle. What do you expect when you heard about ACW? You knew it was going to be a big event. Did you think it was going to be this big with that top caliber of a TNA person versus somebody who a year ago, 2 years ago, was also in WWE.
Yeah, so you're having like 2 former WWE stars, a current TNA star, and a few weeks ago, if you would have told me about this match, I'd have been like, the obvious choice is Nic Nemeth, because I doubt Riddle could win it. I doubt Riddle would have a chance, maybe not really being in TNA, and I kind of thought to myself, anything can happen, right? But then I put on TV a few weeks, and then look who walked in the door to TNA, none other than Matt Riddle. So Matt Riddle is a part of everywhere right now. He's been former WWE, former MMA, current MLW, and now he's stepping his foot into TNA. And now to get a TNA World Heavyweight Championship match against somebody he's never had a match with is going to be exciting. I mean, as a wrestling fan, of seeing a first-time ever match of 2 guys who never had the chance to go against each other, but not going against just each other, they're going against each other for a championship of the world, of another company. So it's amazing, because these 2 guys too, I think, have to be the workhorses, I think, of their generation. These 2 guys can do anything. They can walk the walk. They could talk the talk. They could do anything and everything. They can work with anybody and everybody. I think this is a great matchup of these 2. They're kind of like, it's exact mirror image of each other in a way of work ethic, athleticism, agility, anything. Like, these guys are evenly matched, and I think anything can go with this one.
Yeah, and I'm gonna bring in like a little bit of a scenario for you. I'm seeing like the Nic Nemeth versus Matt Riddle as like a modern day Brett versus Shawn. And I know you're a big Brett fan, and I'm more of a Shawn guy, but like I see Nick as the Brett. Mm-hmm. Or I mean, I see Nick as the Shawn, a little flashier. I see Matt as kind of the Brett, a little more technical or whatever. However, I'll just say that like I don't want to completely fangirl out, but like to see Nic Nemeth in Poughkeepsie as the main event of this, it does something. It makes me, it's such a legitimate thing that's happening here. It's bringing professional wrestling back to Poughkeepsie and doing it in a major way. And this match, again, I can sit here and say that the Rumble is going to be my favorite, or the the Cruiserweight is going to be my favorite. The women's match, they're all going to be fantastic. But how do you top this? And it's just one of those things that it's putting Poughkeepsie back on the map, and it's putting ACW in the forefront. And you're going to be talking about, where were you when you saw Matt Riddle take on and
for the first time ever for the championship,
Nic Nemeth. So, do you have I know that you are familiar with both these guys. Do you have a favorite going into this match?
I love both of these guys, because I have to talk a little bit about Nick really quick, because let's go back to WrestleMania 29, where everybody wanted him to cash in at WrestleMania, and didn't happen. It happened the night after, on the Monday after WrestleMania, where he cashed in his briefcase and became world champion. And now fast forward many years later, he's actually the world champion of TNA, coming in to having a match here. And it's almost like I don't know, like an old saying, like he's come full circle for me, I guess, with his career, to where I didn't get to see him be a world champion at that time, but now I get to see him be a world champion, and it's really bittersweet, I think, for me to see that happen. I think, for Nic Nemeth alone, he's been underrated throughout his whole entire career. I remember everybody always talking about him, like, man, this guy's a workhorse. He's like, for the IC championship, where that's like the workhorse title or whatever. Nic Nemeth was always that guy. He's the guy that can work with anybody, talk with anybody, do anything. He was great all around. And then when Matt Riddle came in, I didn't have too much knowledge of him. I saw him at some local wrestling shows over here. I heard about his MMA background, and then I got to see them. The guys kind of reminds me, you said Bret Hart, it's like the Bret versus Shawn. I kind of see Riddle as the new RVD, where RVD had the 420 gimmick a little bit, kind of like Riddle has now. But, he's doing incredible stuff at what he's doing, and he reminds me more of like an RVD at this time. So if you give me it's almost to me like a Shawn versus RVD in a way.
Sure.
But I still see that Brett correlation to where you're seeing what we're seeing with this. But 2 of the best athletes at it today are going to be ever. One of these guys that are going to have historic careers, already have historic careers, are on their way to Hall of Fames at the end of the rainbow. These guys are 2 of the best around. And I mean, it's not too often that you get 2 of the best going at it for the main event in in our city, right? So it's in our back door. I'm excited for this match because it's another match where I have no idea what's going to happen. And like I said, a few weeks ago, I would have said, yeah, I could see Nemeth, of course, pulling off a victory here. But then I saw Riddle walk in the back door at TNA, and now I'm like second guessing myself. I'm like, you know what? Anything could happen, and especially if anything's going to happen, it's going to happen in Poughkeepsie.
Yeah, absolutely, and that anything that can happen. Like we know that WWE has got a little bit of a relationship right now with TNA.
Yep.
So what happens when you come to ACW and see Nic Nemeth and Matt Riddle, and then the next month you watch the Royal Rumble, and one of these guys that you just saw at ACW maybe
weeks later,
pops up.
Exactly.
That's what's so awesome about wrestling right now and this time that we're living in. I think sometimes we're spoiled. I think sometimes that we have high expectations, but for me, it's that guessing what's going to happen, who's going to win on that night. And this match right here, again, if I had to put money down right now, I'm going Nemeth. I'm a Nemeth guy. I've been a Nemeth guy since OVW, since the Spirit Squad, all those things. Huge fan. Riddle's a little bit of an unknown. I mean, I've seen what he can do, but not in this sense, and not when there's something to prove, and not when there's something on the line. I want to see if the cream actually will rise to the top. That's a little bit of a throwback to the Macho Man, but I'm just saying, to January 4th, we're going to see who walks away with the TNA World Heavyweight Championship.
No, for sure. We talked a lot about former WWE guys, right? After their WWE tenure, usually when we see guys after they do their WWE run, go on to greener pastures, if you will. But these guys have stayed at the top of their game, even leaving that WWE train to still rise to that top, right? They were still a top anywhere they go. And to see them in awesome championship wrestling, I think is, definitely what's needed here in our city, in our town. This is what we wanted. We've been talking about it for years. It's going to be in our backyard. This is ACW.com. I don't know why you don't have tickets by now. The show's happening in hours or weeks or days. Come on, guys. Get your tickets, because this show that we've talked about all week, of all these matches, of all these people that you can see, it's a one night only kind of a thing here. You don't know what's going to happen. No. You never know. All these surprises. There's going to be surprises. There's going to be people that you don't know or that you know. I'm ready for wrestling, man. It's 2025. I'm ready for wrestling in my backyard in Poughkeepsie.
And this show specifically, we've mentioned it, there's a lot of firsts, but there's no more important first than this is the first ACW event. Hopefully the first of many, but we will see. And this is Poughkeepsie, New York. Go get your tickets if you haven't already.
That's right, guys. So stay tuned. Check us out. Another wrestling podcast. Check us out, guys. Like us, follow us, subscribe to us on all podcasts on YouTube. But more importantly, make sure you check out beaconpodcasting.io. Beacon Podcasting, right in Beacon, New York, right off of 84, right near the Metro North train station. If you want a podcast just like another wrestling podcast, but not another wrestling podcast, maybe you could do another kind of a podcast. And if you want to do it here, guys, because I ain't doing this on my own. I'm doing it with the help from Sal at Beacon Podcasting. This is the place where you want to be, guys. So if you want a podcast and doing what we're doing, come on out to Beacon Podcasting. This is where your dreams will come true. And we'll see you on January 4th in Poughkeepsie.